Man, a guy's inactive on a server for like a week and a half, and people are already leaving stuff near my property. Holland left this here for me. Let's see what's in the vending machine. Oh yes, golden carrots. Yum. Thank you, Holland. Very cola flavored golden carrots. Excellent. Last episode we built this gigantic skeleton here, and we have all this land around it to transform. So much work to do. Where to even start? Well, I've decided that this land here that borders on the ocean, basically the beach, is what we're going to be working on this episode. We're going to be building a gigantic beach, but not like any other beach. This is going to be a very unique and colorful and fantasy-themed beach that, bit by bit, it will all connect together, rooting back to this big guy right here behind me. So this whole area here, basically from here all the way around on the edge of the water and inland, is what we're going to be working on this episode. And a lot of this land is going to have to be taken out, flattened down, because we're going to be making our own terrain in its place. And we have a lot of trees and dirt and things to clear out of the way before we're able to really get building here. So, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get started. Oh, and by the way, welcome back to Dream Builds. My name is Dream in Silence, but you can call me Jake. And if you're enjoying this video here, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps my channel a lot. Was phase 1. Why phase 1? Well, because I have a lot more work to do. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to be using a mod called Flashback, which I haven't used before. I've been using Replay mod for every video up until this one. But I recognize that this is going to take a lot of time, and I want to be able to speed up the time lapse for you guys without the day-night cycle flashing. So this next time lapse is going to be from Flashback. And to reduce time going back and forth repairing equipment, I not only have my main 2 shovels, but I went ahead and crafted 3 brand new ones. Lots of work to do. Let's keep going. Well, you guys, between both of those time lapses, flattening out this entire area here took me altogether over 16 hours. And we're not done yet. Oh no. Shut up, sheep. This was just the beginning. This was what I needed to do to get started actually shaping and building. Now, I'm sure you're wondering at this point what exactly it is that I am planning to do with this area. I said it's going to be a unusual beach, and that is very true. But I will admit, it's not entirely from my mind's eye. No, I am taking inspiration from a real-life beach in a place called Holtsos. A little bit of information for you guys. Holtsos is a tidal lagoon in Iceland, south of a volcano with a name that I cannot pronounce, but I will put right here.
Eyjafjallajökull.
It is separated from the Atlantic Ocean by a narrow strip of sand. Now you'll see in my main reference image here, the black sand is from volcanic rock eroding over time by the rivers and ocean. And the Yellow River is from the minerals and sediment that come from the volcanic sand. I was very inspired by its otherworldly appearance and decided to create a beach that looked very similar to it here. Still got a little bit more digging to do because I think we're going to bring the edge down a little bit, because this is going to be a beach that I want to have the water coming in a bit farther, and obviously the idea is supposed to be that it's at low tide. All of these chests here are almost all completely full of blocks because I can't bring myself to waste good blocks. You never know when you might need a ton of stone. But that right there behind me is only pretty much half of it. I have already transported a ton back to my base and the overstock dock, and there's so much more here. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how many materials I'm going to need for building this. I've gathered quite a bit, but I have a feeling I'm probably going to have to gather more. This is a very building-focused episode, but I really wanted to finally make a significant mark in the terraforming on this project, because that's the part that I've been most excited to start doing. I maybe decided to work on a really big chunk all at once, and unfortunately that means this episode is probably going to take a bit longer to come out than I would have wanted, but I think it'll be worth it. So, it's time to get back into building. But this time, I'm not going to do a time lapse. I think I'm going to do a bit of a montage and talk to you guys a little bit about what exactly it is that I'm going for and how I will end up going about building it. So without further ado, let's do some building. I began by shaping the edge. I tried to have it be informed by the natural shape of the land, but try and have it be ever so slightly different, layer by layer. And I both had to shape the on-land part and the underwater part, basically to have them both be distinctive layers to the beach. And I found that the easiest way to go about doing each layer was to make an outline for where the next layer would be. A decision I ended up making was to have the first two levels have coal blocks for the edges. Turns out that it actually takes quite a long time to gather coal blocks. Kubi ended up lending me his supply. I used that up real quick, and he even got our wither skeleton farm to a state where it was more useful in AFK. I needed a lot of blocks, of course. That was to be expected. But I did my best on the edges to give it some texture and variance. I just wanted it to not all be just a solid line. I still have more work to do on the texturing, but I only had so much time to work on that and so many blocks that I had collected. But something I did also end up doing a lot of work on was the underwater parts. I was not satisfied enough with just doing the surface. I needed it to properly blend into the water, at least deep enough to the point where it goes out of view from above the water. And I did put a fair amount of detail into the slopes of the beach going down into the depths of the ocean. Probably more than I should have. I couldn't help but give the rocks some variance along the edge of the water. I should note that in the shallows, I ended up just using regular black concrete. It being underwater kind of masks the concrete enough to where the almost pure glossy black of the concrete isn't that noticeable, and it kind of just looks like wet black sand. Where on the dry land, I used obviously the coal blocks on the very edges, and then in from that, I used the black concrete powder. I liked the contrast of the coal on the edges, as it made each layer of the sand more noticeable from a distance, rather than them all blending together. For the next layer, the block that I ended up using the majority of that layer was mud. I probably used mud more than any other block in this project, both on the largest flat area and a lot underwater. Although at least in the underwater portions, I was able to just place dirt and automatically convert it into mud by just spamming a water bottle. But the ones that I placed on land, I had to manually convert and collect dirt into mud, and so that took a little while. And though it's not exactly the same as my original reference image, I am mixing a number of different inspirations, and I have a number of different things that I want to blend together. And part of that is the color of the beach gradually shifting from a dark black, and the further inland it gets, the lighter it gets, until we're going to eventually have a part of the land near the hills that's white and other colors involved. But we're not going to be working on that this episode. But then from there, I was getting to the point where I had to figure out how to transition from the flat beach area that I had created and the harsh cliff face of the land that I had not as significantly changed or removed yet. And the more I looked at it, the more I was working on this project, the more I ended up deciding that I wanted to leave most of that land at the level that it was at. In certain areas, I just shaped it along with the land, and in some areas, I felt I needed to cut back more of that land and have the freedom to shape the cobbled deep slate section the way that I wanted it to be shaped, because I'm trying to make it look almost like what its real life counterpart is inspired by, which is volcanic rock. This part I spent quite a bit of time working on because I chose to really try my best to put as much variance and texture into this section as I possibly could, because I didn't want it to just have a super smooth curve up to the higher ground. I really wanted it to have that like bubbly, rocky texture to it. But when you're doing something like that, you end up carefully picking and choosing where every single block goes. For that many blocks over that large of an area, it takes a while. So I do think that the end result is worth it. It helps connect the low ground and the high ground in a way that I think just works. And of course, you know, it's not done yet. This is just one small part of a very, very large project. I really felt the need to make a significant dent into the terraforming on this project. I just ended up biting off a little bit more than I can chew. I chose to work on a really, really big area all at once, and I don't ideally want to normally be taking this long to come out with episodes. I'd prefer to come out with them more often. So I hope that you guys enjoy this one. I hope that seeing and hearing my perspective of how I went about terraforming such a large section of land was interesting to you guys. But I think I'm going to cut to myself in-game so I can show you guys directly something that I did to mark out what is going to be a core aspect of this entire biome project. So, future me, take it away. Well, hello again. It's nice to see you. Future Dream here. I want to show you one more thing. Ta-da! I put down some yellow wool blocks to mark a thing out that I'm going to build. Yes. What is this exactly? Well, it is generally where I am planning on building what is supposed to be yellow rivers. In the original image that inspired me, those yellow rivers were sediment that came from volcanic rock. Now, I'm kind of doing a reverse thing with my fantasy world building here, in that the yellow rivers that are not only here, but are going to be going along these places where an actual Minecraft river tried to generate. On the other side, you'll see it going down into this area here. And there's more in that direction that will also be affected. But what is it from? Well, right here is directly underneath where our big lizard friend's heart would have been. I did my best to make a sort of chest section to the skeleton here. How I'm going to visualize the idea that this creature's remains transformed the land around it is that because of it being a massive, powerful, and majestic creature, I'm going to be basically depicting the idea that though the creature came to its final resting place here on these hills, it still had such a strong life force within it. What basically is this creature's life essence leaked out here onto the land and spread far and wide, and that liquid life force ended up being the catalyst for what will have caused this land to have completely transformed. Almost like in this creature's final resting place, it made it its own. My real world reference that inspired me to make this beach, the Yellow Rivers, happened for a different reason. I am basically having it be that the Yellow Rivers caused this land to change. Why did it turn the beach black? Because it looks cool. That's why. Now, I will admit, there are still a lot of details that I have yet to put on here. I don't necessarily just want this to be a giant swath of flat land. Obviously, I'm going to make these rivers, and that's going to add a lot of detail on its own. But I'm probably going to place some other things here and there, and obviously I still have some more texturing here on the edges to do. And you'll also see that I did reach a point here where I ran out of time and blocks, and I had no more time to gather more blocks or build any longer. I had to reach an endpoint for this video. I'm still going to have more work to do to completely finish this area of the land. There's a little bit over here that's not quite complete as well. It's still going to be creeping in a bit farther than it is right now, but it will start to transition here pretty soon into a different palette that will make up this land here. And hopefully I will be able to blend and transition everything in a very visually pleasing and natural feeling way. I already knew that this was going to take a long time, but doing this has really put it into perspective for me that, yeah, this is going to take a long time. I maybe should avoid doing large, giant swaths of land all at once like this in the future. And I also am not going to be focusing solely on the biome transformation project. I do have other things that I want to do as well. It would get boring if I just did the same thing all the time. I did feel, though, like I needed to focus in on this main thing this episode. I very nearly added a whole other section to this video, doing something else with a friend. I maybe already did a bunch of work on that too by the time of this recording. But I ended up making the decision to save that for next episode. It's just a whole lot of me. It's the Jake show today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, because that's gonna have to be it for this episode. Thank you all so much for making it to this point in the video. It really means a lot to me. I hope that you enjoyed your time here with me, and I hope that you are excited to see where this goes and what I do next. And if you're new here, this is episode 15 in an ongoing series. I have made a lot of videos. Hopefully I can make the next one for you guys a little bit quicker than this one. Anyways, with all of that said, thank you again. It means the world to me that you decided to spend part of your day with one of my creations. Take care of yourselves and each other, and don't forget, I love your face.